Hey guys, this is Charles from worshipguitarskills.com, back with another lesson on how to play more melodically on the guitar. Now, this is kind of a continuation of a previous series we did around a concept called Melodic Math, which is taking kind of a paint by numbers approach when it comes to playing melodic lines or composing melodic lines on the guitar. Specifically, we looked at active tones and stable tones, and we looked at like how the combination of those two things can create tension and resolution. And most people said, man, they love the concept. Finally, it makes sense to them on how do you create a tension, how do you resolve it. It's really, really, really cool. But the problem is, how do you do that stuff on the fly? When you are in a worship set or you're busy playing a song, you don't have enough time to mentally process all of this stuff, because by the time that you figured out, okay, great, I want to go from this active tone to that stable tone over that chord on that string with these fingers picking it like that, you have missed a chord change already, right? Because you can't think too much about the stuff. It has to become instinctive. And that is what I want to talk to you about in this lesson, which is the solution to that. How do you find a way to just immediately know where all of the chord tones are over a progression? And what I mean with chord tones, those are, of course, what we call stable tones. So all of the other notes within a scale, those are going to make up what we call our active tones or our tension tones, right? So arpeggios is really the solution to that. So what is an arpeggio? Well, let me play an F major arpeggio for you so you can see it, and we'll break it down afterwards. So all an arpeggio really is, it's a broken chord. So instead of playing F like this, I just took the notes that make up an F chord, which would be F, A, and C, and then I played F, A, C, F, A, C. And that's, of course, from the C shape, using the cage system. We'll get to that in a second. But that's all an arpeggio is. It's a broken chord, and all of these separate notes that I'm playing, those are chord tones, all right? So I can take a progression, and we're going to look at a 4-1-5-6 progression in the key of C, which of course will be F major, C major, G major, A minor. So that progression, we're going to play arpeggios for that, which it basically means that each one of those chords actually has an arpeggio shape to it. So for example, the F arpeggio, followed by a C major arpeggio, followed by a G arpeggio, followed by an A minor arpeggio. So even as I'm playing those separate notes, you can already hear the progression. Listen to this. So all I did there is I took each one of those chords, which would have been F, C, G, A minor, and each time I played only the chord tones using the arpeggio shape. So here's the two things that's very important. Once you learn an arpeggio shape, you don't actually have to know the names of the notes. You are just going to know that all those notes within that shape, those are going to be chord tones, right? And then when you take a scale and you add the scale to that, then the scale is going to bring out all of these active tones. So for example, if I know that this is an F major arpeggio, then clearly this B note is going to be a stable, an active tone, because it's part of my scale. But it's not part of the arpeggio. So if I go, so you heard over the F chord, it's a lot of tension, but if I resolve it to the C, then it sounds cool. Just making stuff up here, but it outlines the progression. So what I've got here is I've got a backing track. It's really slow, it's at 60 beats a minute. And I'm gonna play these arpeggio shapes up and down just to give you an opportunity to hear this in context. And then afterwards, I'll start showing you some of these shapes and tell you how you can get a complete set of all of the caged arpeggio shapes in both major and minor, and also tell you where you can get access to this backing track that I'm using. Okay, so let's check this out. All right, so that's just me messing around. First time around, I just mapped out the chord tones, and then afterwards I used the C major scale in conjunction with those arpeggio shapes. So I want to keep it kind of high level for you. We can dive deeper into the details of this in upcoming lessons, but for now it's important that you start learning these arpeggio shapes and that you can see how you can actually use these shapes in a chord progression together with the scale. Like I said, there's a lot of actual fingerings that you need to learn to get these arpeggios dialed in, and you ideally want a backing track that's nice and slow like this one, where you can just go up and down with the arpeggio shapes until they've really been drilled into your fingers, because then you can tell yourself, okay, great, that progression is a 4, 1, 5, 6 in the key of C. So we have the 4 chord, the 1 chord, the 5 chord, the 6 chord. But what if I want to go to a different position? Well, then I'm going to play the 4 chord here, the 1 chord, 5 chord, the 6 chord. What if I want to do it even higher? The 4 chord, the 1 chord, the 5 chord, the 1 chord, the 6 chord rather. Even higher, the 4 chord, 1 chord, the 5 chord, and then the 6 chord. And then even the 1 chord or the 4 chord can be played here. 1 chord, 5, 6, So what I've just done is I've played those 4 arpeggio shapes very roughly but very quickly in 5 different positions. So no matter where you are playing in a song, if you know what the progression is, it's going to use a combination of the major and minor arpeggios. You just map out those chord tones, and then you take the scale of the key that the song is in, and you can use that to make up lines, but the arpeggio shapes, because they've got the chord tones, will show you where you can land. All right, guys, so I really hope that makes sense in the way that you can take an arpeggio shape, which is a broken chord, and use that to map out the chord tones on the guitar so that you can just play that stuff without thinking. All right, now, of course, you never want to play just arpeggios because that's going to be boring. We're only going to be able to play the stable tones, which is chord tones, but we want to bring in some of the tension through the active tones, so that's why we have to mix that up. All right, so I've got another video in which I'll go a little bit more detail around these arpeggio shapes, but if you'd like to get like a cheat sheet that shows you all 5 of the major arpeggios and all 5 of the minor arpeggios together with a backing track so you can practice those and kind of get them dialed into your fingers, just check the link in the description box. It'll take you to a page where you can just tell me where I need to send this arpeggio cheat sheet together with the backing track, as well as some examples that we can get into with some lines that I can make with that. Because all of the things that we're going to be looking at in future videos as part of this playing more melodically will require you to have those shapes dialed into your fingers, and that's what that cheat sheet is really perfect for. All right, guys. Link in the description box for the cheat sheet. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so. Click the bell icon. You'll get notifications whenever we release new videos just like that one. And go ahead, leave a comment, any questions, comments or suggestions. It's always great to hear back from the Worship Guitar Skills family. All right, guys, have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, I really hope you enjoyed this video where we looked at ways in which you can play more melodically on the guitar by making use of your mental understanding, your aural ability by hearing music and melodic ideas, and then the physical ability of actually mapping out the notes on the guitar. Now, this is all just the start of a whole wonderful journey, and if you'd like to dig deeper and learn more about how you can compose these different kinds of parts, as well as get access to the backing track that I used in this example, well, we've got a 7-day Worship Guitar Skills Challenge, which you can sign up for free. The link is in the description box. When you sign up for the 7-day challenge, you will learn 15 different kinds of guitar parts, making use of these chord tones in a musical and melodic fashion. And that's going to help you really map out the notes on the guitar so you can play with more passion, power, and precision, all those kind of good things that you hear all of your favorite guitarists do. So that's all covered in the 7-day guitar challenge. You'll get tablature, you'll get a backing track, and you will also get access to my personal email address. So if you've got any questions, you can just fire off an email, and then I will go ahead and address that in future videos. All right, guys, been awesome hanging with you today. Make sure you sign up for the 7-day guitar challenge so we can go ahead and dig deeper into this wonderful journey of becoming a better guitarist.